Welcome to Munus. This is a historical squad-based miniature game, a tabletop war game. The idea is it's a game that you can play whether you're a beginner or a veteran. It is meant to emulate gladiatorial combat in the arena. It is a game that you can play with multiple players, each controlling their own ludi or gladiatorial school, in a big grand spectacle to see who will come out on top. But you can also play this single player. The rulebook includes basically the option of fighting beasts, which is what we're going to be doing over the next 3 matches. So I hope you enjoy. If you are interested in this game, by all means go across to wargamevault.com, search Munus and you should find it there. Nice and cheap, $5 Australian, so pretty much if you're anywhere else in the world except for New Zealand, haha, it's going to be cheaper than that. So let's get started. Let's have a look at the ludi that are going to be facing off against nature's most savage plastic animals. Okay, so as I said, Munus is intended to be very accessible to new players, but also offer more seasoned veterans a chance to not only dust off their old favourite miniatures, but also a bit of a challenge in the game itself. But as you can see, with that in mind, before you is all you really need in order to play a game of Munus. You just need 2 D6s, you need a measuring device, you need unique miniatures. They don't have to be gladiators, although that is the theming of the game. Like I said, old favourites can be dusted off. It could be a bunch of space marines fighting some sort of aliens in close combat. It could be, post-apocalyptic. It could be just rocks that look a bit different to each other. The idea is anyone can play this. All you need is those equipment and, of course, the rulebook, which you can purchase and download easily offline. So this is what we're going to be using today. This contains the full rule set. I'll go through the different rules as we go, so don't stress about that too much at this stage. But what we also will need in order to play this game is we will need to create our own ludi. Now, ludi is a gladiatorial combat school. Not technically. Ludi actually in Latin means game. So it meant the games, it meant a game, and it meant schools that trained up gladiators for the game. So we have here the ludi that we're going to be playing with over the next couple of matches. This is the ludi sheet. Nice and simple. You give them a name. We're going to call them the Raw Patrol. And you name your gladiators, your fighters. So we have here Russell. Russell is one of our contenders. We have here Jimon. We have here Corey. And we have here Old Man Harris. They're going to be heading into the arena, facing off against the horrible and savage beasts. At the moment, my ludi sheet is looking very plain, but that's because this ludi has not gone into the arena yet. As we go along, we'll be keeping track of their fame, their fortune, we'll be able to buy special equipment to give them special little perks. But that won't be done until they have earned those materials. Now, as well as the ludi sheet, the team sheet, you also need these cards. These very basic cards. This is all that we will need in order to keep track of our fighters' stamina, to keep track of their equipment, to keep track of their fame, because all these things are going to be used in order to play a game of Munus. Now, again, we'll go into all this in more detail when we're actually playing. I'll show you what's going on. But basically, the winner of this game is going to be the person who can manage their stamina the best. If you can't manage your stamina, then you're going to be out of this game real quick. Now, within the Munus rulebook, there is also a series of scenarios that you can choose from. I've chosen the scenarios I feel best accommodate a solo play, animal play. We're going to start tonight with Scenario 6, Escort from the Underworld. Gladiatorial combat was often themed around historical or mythical events. They're basically trying to bring the world to the arena to show the population, the crowd, what their whole culture had to offer. And so this scenario is based off of Greek myth and can be played 2-player. But if you know what you're doing, you can also play it solo with the beasts, because the ludi book also includes stats and basic AI for the animals. Ta-da! So we're going to be using some of these tonight, and it should be a lot of fun. We're going to set up this scenario. I'll explain to you what we're trying to achieve when you can see it, and we'll start going through some of the rules. But basically, we're going to see if Raw Patrol is able to make it in the arena, win the affection of the crowd, and make a lot of money doing so. So it should be fun. Okay, so here we have it. The setup, the arena for Scenario 6, Escape from the Underworld. Basically, the goal for Raw Patrol is they have an additional player today. They have Red-Headed Joe. Red-Headed Joe is in the arena. The Raw Patrol need to defend Red-Headed Joe as he makes his way clockwise around all these pieces of terrain in the 4 quadrants of the arena. He needs to do so safely. He cannot attack, he can just move. That's all he can do. Meanwhile, the animals will be released from this side of the arena, and it will be their job to hunt down and stop Red-Headed Joe. Now, because they're animals, they're not quite going to do that. We're going to utilize their basic AI system where essentially they will go after the closest available player, one that's not already engaged with another animal, and they will try and take them out. So if that's Red-Headed Joe, it will be him. Otherwise, it will be one of the defenders. So let's get started. This game begins with a crowd phase. Basically, the crowd phase is used to determine the turn order in the game. And that's where little Scottish Highland paper soldiers come in. You don't need to use little paper Highlanders. You could just have a separate piece of paper keeping a track of your hype points, or you could use counters, either way. But basically, like I said, they represent something called hype points. The arena is divided into 4 quadrants. In the crowd phase, it is determined which of these quadrants will activate first, which next 2 will activate second, and which one will activate third, depending on how close they are to the crowd that is the most hyped up and give a big cheer. Within that quadrant, gladiators with the highest fame levels will go first, followed by ones with lower fame levels, obviously. If 2 gladiators have the same level of fame, basically it is the closest gladiator to the appeal box that will go first. So let me demonstrate what I mean in round 1. In round 1, I'll show you the full crowd phase, but after that point, I'll just do it off camera. Basically, each quadrant at the moment has only 1 hype point in each corner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a D6, a nice basic D6, and I'm going to add the amount of hype in that corner to the roll. So for example, this one over here, if I roll a 2, 2 plus 1, 3. So a cheer of 3 goes up. This compared to this corner over here, roll a 6, 6 plus the 1, that's 7. Okay, so at the moment, this crowd's going to go off. I'm going to do the other 2. We have 6 and we have 2. So this corner here, the crowd roars as the game begins. So pretty much this quadrant and anyone in it will go first. Then these next 2 quadrants will go, followed by this 3rd quadrant. As I said, anyone with the most fame, they will go first in that quadrant. Now, none of these characters have fame in this first match, so then it's a matter of who is closer to these appeal boxes. The appeal boxes will become more clear as the game goes on, especially as the different matches types goes on. Just know that the appeal box, it's there for them to get all the way around to. It's the marker where they're going to get all the way around the game. Appeals won't appear too much in this game. They are appeals to the crowd. They're appeals to the patron of the match. But animals do not consider appeals. But as I said, a cheer has gone up from this corner. They're all like, yeah, they all hype up. But as they cheer, their energy dies out. And we move that hype point across to the opposite side of the arena. So this quarter, when we do our next crowd phase, we'll have 2 hype points to add to their score. In addition to any hype points that are gained in that quadrant from one opponent striking another opponent. Okay? So as the game goes on, we'll see the hype build in all these quadrants as the gladiators and the animals clash with each other. Which quarter is most hyped up will change depending on the crowd cheers, and that will help shift the turn order throughout the course of this match. But let's get to the next phase, the Gladiator Phase. Okay, so the Gladiator Phase kicks off. Basically, this is the point in which the actual combatants in the game are going to engage and perform their certain actions. This quadrant here was the one where the cheer went up first, so any combatant in this quadrant will go, which is this rhinoceros. This rhinoceros is the only combatant that will go. It will be followed by these two quarters and then the final quarter furthest away from where the cheer went off. So, Mr. Rhino is going to have a go. We're going to make use of the game's basic AI for rhinoceroses. We're going to call them... there's no specific rhino in the book, but there are bulls. So we're going to treat the rhino as a bull. What it's going to do is it's going to target the closest gladiator at this stage. So we're probably going to say it's Connie over here. Connie over here is probably the closest to that rhino, I think. And then it's going to exert half of its stamina in order to get to, move to, and strike that gladiator. So, basically, it's going to exert stamina. I'll just quickly show you the little raw page. Stamina is basically both your hit points and your energy in order to move. You only have 12. So this rhinoceros is going to move half of its possible stamina points. So it's going to move 6. And if it still can, at the end of that, have stamina remaining to strike at Connie, it will. So, let's that rhinoceros, from its little nose, it will need 4 stamina to move its 4 inches. It loses a stamina for every inch it moves. And it comes into base contact with Connie. Okay, so it loses its stamina. Let's just see what colour his belly is. He's a purple belly, so I'm at the purple counter. Loses 4 stamina. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it could still spend 1 more stamina in order to get a hit on this Connie. So that's what he's going to do. So he's moved. Okay, he's spent 1 stamina per movement. I'm now going to strike. He's going to, the rhino, he, I guess it's a he, let's call it a he. Purple rhino is going to strike at Connie first. So I'm going to roll 2d6s. Okay, that's all I'm going to roll, 2d6s. We're looking for a high value and a low value. The high value is like the rhino striking at the opponent, and the low value is like the gladiator defending herself. Okay? Basically, when I roll this first initial strike, it will not cast any stamina, and the difference between the 2 die will be the amount of damage that it can inflict onto Connie. After that initial strike, it can damage Connie further, but that's only if it's willing to inflict damage for a cost of stamina. I'll show you what I mean. Right, so I'm going to roll the die. The 2 dice. We got ourselves a 6 and a 5. So at the cost of no extra stamina, Connie is going to take a hit. In my imagination, basically, Connie, when the rhino attacks, she's going to block with her shield, or she'll parry to the side. She doesn't actually take a hit. She expends stamina in order to defend herself from this rhino attack. So she'll go down from 12 stamina down to 11 stamina. Okay? Now the rhino, its programming is to go down to half stamina. So he can expend up to 5 extra stamina to inflict more damage onto Connie. Okay? Now, if I was playing with another player, they can choose to spend all 5 of those, like really just lay into her in order to try and inflict a whole bunch of damage, a devastating blow onto Connie. But the AI dictates that I can only do an additional 2 hits on her. So it's going to cost 1, 2, down to 6 for the bull, but that will come at the cost of 2 to Connie, which brings her down to 10, 9. Connie now has 9 stamina remaining in order to work with, as this rhino has just charged at her and gored her. Okay, so that rhino has just done a strike onto Connie. So basically that makes that quarter of the arena just get real excited. They just saw some bloodlust. They saw a crazy wild animal strike at a human. So they get an additional hype point, which will be contributed to the dice roll in the next crowd phase. So I've got to remember, every time a strike is made, the crowd just gets a little bit more amped, a little bit more hyped up, ready for the next phase. All right, now that's happened, let's move on to the gladiator's turn. So that's the rhinos go. Next up, there's no one else in this quarter of the arena. Or at least these guys are more on this side than that side. So these two sections are going to go next. There's going to be whoever's closest to the appeal boxes. All of them, though, are pretty much touching the appeal box. So for the sake of the game, we're going to say that the gladiators will go first. They'll be able to engage and move their plans first. So it's just going to be Redhead first, because he's literally standing in the middle of the appeal box. So he can only expend stamina. Okay, so I want to move him, but I want to keep him safe. So we're going to shepherd him a little bit if we can. They're only going to move to him if he is the closest. So if we expend, let's say 5 stamina on him. 5 stamina will move him to behind that charcoal pillar. So we'll move him over here, so he's hiding away from our little animals. He's expended 5 stamina. So he's now down to 7 stamina that he's able to use. And he's hiding. So he's in that position. Hopefully that should work. Okay, so next up, we notice these 2 quadrants that are going. Either the leopard or Russell, both their feet are in that the appeal box. So I'm going to give it to Russell, because, you know, you've always got to give it to Russell for anything involving gladiators. He's now going to move, and he's going to try and shepherd a little bit. Or should he take on this rhino? No, he's going to shepherd a little bit. He's going to come forward and come to about here in order to sort of be in the line of fire in case one of these creatures have a go at old Redhead over here. So Russell's going to move out. He's just going to move 3 inches out to here. Boop. He's ready to face down any creature that comes barreling in after him. And that's all he's going to do. So just 3 inches. He moves along. So Russell's now down to 9 stamina. Now let's move on to the leopard. So the leopard operates in a very similar way to the rhino. It will move down to half its stamina in order to attack. But unlike the rhino, it is fast. It will be able to move 2 inches of movement for free. Okay? And now that Russell has kind of moved into the line of sight, I think it's pretty safe to say he is now the closest to one that to the leopard's line of sight. So normally it would cost 4 inches for the leopard in order to move in and strike at Russell. But because the leopard has 2 inches for free, it's only going to cost it 2 stamina to move in and have a go at Russell. And my goodness, what an enormous leopard it is. It's huge. Megafauna. So it's moving in closer. It's going to now have 10 stamina to spend in order to hurt poor old Russell here. So it is going to make a strike. It is going to make a strike as it is in base contact with Russell. It looks like he's literally biting his head off. All right, so rolling the dice. He only got a upper value of 3, a lower value of 1. So for free, he will be able to do 2 damage onto poor old Russell here. So he's now down to 7. And because this leopard needs to spend up to or down to half its value, he is going to do the additional 1 damage. So the leopard's now down onto 9, while Russell is now down onto 6. So he's at half health now. Oh, he's at half health. All right, next, I think we can say that Corey can have her turn. And I think she's going to have her own and have a go at the rhinoceros. So her stamina is currently at 9. The rhino stamina is at 6. So it's probably worth doing this. So Corey's not going to move. She's just going to hit at the rhinoceros as hard as she can. Oh, that reminds me, before I do that though, the leopard struck Russell. So that's ourselves some more hype points in the corner. Forgot to do that. So the crowd's getting amped. But she's going to strike now, so that's going to be some more hype points no matter how successful her hit is. So, rolling the dice. Oh, she does pretty well. She gets herself an upper value of 6, a lower value of 2. So for free, she inflicts onto the bull an additional 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's now down to 2. 2 stamina left. Okay, so what she's going to do now is she will indeed spend 1 additional stamina to bring the rhino down to its Thanos point. Now, if we were facing off against a typical gladiator, at this point, Connie would make an appeal to the crowd. The crowd would decide the fate of the gladiator at the Thanos point, whether they think he should die there on the spot, or if they should go and appeal to the patron to see if they can fight on in this match. But as it's an animal, that is not afforded to it. People are here to see this thing go down. So, indeed, she takes the blade and she puts the rhinoceros down. It's not animal cruelty because it's made out of plastic. So that rhinoceros is out for this round. However, in this special scenario, normally the gladiator would make their way back to the appeal box and they could start again. Okay, the idea is that the gladiators are like the demons trying to stop Orpheus and his true love from escaping the underworld. For this match, at the start of the next round, I will place this rhinoceros. It's a new rhinoceros coming out of a trapdoor in order to face the opponents. But he's out for now, so well done. Not only has she struck down that rhinoceros, but she has now earned herself the very first fame point for this match. If you're able to remove a gladiator from play, or at least make them appeal to the patron, then you receive fame for being such an awesome warrior. Okay, so she has now gone. You keep track of this stuff with like activation counters if you wanted to. For this, I should be able to keep track of who's moving where. But we're now moving on to our next combatant, which I believe is the second rhinoceros. So he's going to move the same way again, spending up to half his stamina points to move in and hurt someone. And unfortunately for Connie, that does seem to be her once again. So life's not fair, neither is the arena. This rhino is going to need 5 stamina points to move in close contact with her. So there we go, bang. It charges in like a crazy raging animal that it is, because it is a crazy raging animal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down to 7. It has enough in order to try and inflict a hit onto her, which is not good. She is down to 8. She has 8 stamina left. Let's see what this does to her. Okay, luckily for her, upper value of 4, lower of 3. This rhino will do 1 damage to her for free, so she's now down to 7. And then an additional 1. So that brings the rhino down to half its value, but it also brings Connie down to half her value. So they're both sitting at 6 right now. Next, we're going to have Old Man Harris. So Old Man Harris is watching all this play out. So he is, what's he going to do? Well, Russell is on 6, as is Connie. Okay, so what Old Man Harris is going to do, he's going to move in and assist Connie if he can. So he only needs to move 2 inches in order to get into base contact. So he's now down to 10 stamina. And he's going to make a strike. Upper value 6, lower value 1. He's almost done the highest value possible. Almost highest value possible. We might find out how to get a higher value in a different match. So he inflicts 5 on that leopard. That's huge. That's huge. So 5 on the leopard. So the leopard is now down to 4. And why not? We'll do 1 extra damage on this thing, bringing Harris down to 9, but the leopard is now down to 3. Next up is the bear. The bear, once again, is going to be moving to half possible stamina in order to inflict damage on a different creature. But its bonus is that it is a strong fighting animal. It is going to have the Amulet of Mars ability, which will explain if he's able to get into striking distance of someone. So it's the closest non-engaged combatant. So that would mean Jamon over here. Okay, so he's going to move in, but he has to move 6 in order to get there. So he's engaged with Jamon, but he's not actually able to hit him because his stamina is at 6. So that's not the best for the bear, because now that both of these areas have gone, we come to our final quadrant to go, and Jamon is the only one in that quadrant. He's the only one to have moved yet. So he's just standing there. This bear's come at him. He's ready. So he's just going to strike at this thing. And he gets a high value of 6, low value of 2. He's able to inflict 4 on this thing. So it goes down to 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it goes down to 2. It goes down to just 2 stamina left. Jamon, without question, he is going to inflict 1 more damage on this thing to bring it down to its Thanos point. And just like that, the bear has overspent itself. It is out until the next round. That reminds me, I forgot to add into this the height points from Old Man Hitting Leopard. So that corner's just buzzing. It is just buzzing. The crowd's excited. It's ready to go. In addition, we've also got over here a height point for Jamon's little strike just there. And he gets himself some fame for taking out a wild beast single-handed. And that's round 1. Round 1 has gone pretty well for our gladiators. They have managed to fend off the attackers, but a reminder, those beasts, they're going to be coming back into the arena in the next round. So we'll see how we go. I'll do the next crowd phase. I'll establish a turn order, and you'll see me in the next turn. Now, unsurprisingly, this corner is the one that goes off. 5 was added to a 6 value. So this crowd goes nuts. I'll just show you how to divvy out the height points. So that crowd goes nuts. The energy sort of moves around to the rest of the arena. We give 1 height point across to the opposite side, and then we put 1 over to the lowest value, which is on this side, and then 1 over on this side. Once again, we give out what's left, a height point across to the opposite side of the arena. We've only got 1 left. How do we decide which side gets that height point? The quarter of the arena that has the least amount of hype gets that additional 1. So the hype has now moved around the arena, ready for the next crowd phase. But let's move on to the second Gladiator phase. So we have the second round. Now, if you're playing against another opponent, the gladiators that were eliminated, like these animals were, they would need to return back to the appeal box, their personal appeal box, to then enter back into the fray. We will have the animals enter back into the arena at the end of this turn. So, these are our combatants. The crowd's gone off over here. We have ourselves our combatants in this arena, this quarter going first. Connie is technically in this quarter of the arena. She has 1 fame for slaying the previous beast, which means she does indeed go first. So what's Connie going to do? How much stamina has she got? Connie is at stamina 6, which is not an awful lot, to be perfectly honest. So she's on 6. The Rhino she's facing is also on 6. Okay, she's going to take a risk. She's going to take a strike at this thing. If she can keep its stamina low, it will not be able to have a go at her. So let's do that. So we're going to roll. We're going to see what she gets. Oh, it's a double 6. A double 6, which means her initial strike does nothing. Her initial strike does not inflict any damage on the rhinoceros. But she can spend stamina, 6 stamina to be specific, to inflict damage. Does she do this? I guess she does, considering that the bear will need to steady itself before it's able to do any attacks. So it's kind of, in a way, safe for her to do this. So she's going to inflict... she's going to inflict 3. 1, 2, 3, which brings her stamina down to 3, but it also brings the Rhinoceros' stamina down to 3 as well. So they're both knackered. They're both really feeling it. Okay, next up in this quarter, all the remaining combatants have only one, have no fame to their name. So pretty much it's whoever's closest to the appeal box, which is Old Man Harris. Old Man Harris has dogpiled in on the leopard, so he too is going to make a strike on this thing. He's going to try and take it out. So he takes a hit at this guy. He gets a top value of 4, lower value of 1. So he can inflict 3 damage on this creature. So it takes 3, which brings it down easily to its Thanos point. And just like that, he takes the beast out. He'll be coming back in at the end of the next gladiatorial round. Old Man Harris has got some fame. The crowd is going nuts. And we have one creature out of the running. So we'll now go to Russell. Russell, now that there's no more creatures, is going to take the opportunity to steady himself. So far, all of our combatants have been spending stamina in order to move and inflict damage. So you're going to get to 0 eventually, and you want to avoid that. So what do? Well, if there's no one around, you stop, and you take a little bit of a break. You have a bit of a breather. So that's what Russell's going to do this round. You just roll 1d6, and whatever value you get from that is how much additional stamina he gets. So he rolls, he only gets 2. So that bumps him up from 6 to 8. He's got 8 stamina to work with. That then brings us to old mate Redhead. He is on 7. He too is going to get some stamina. So he's going to roll, he's going to steady himself. He only gets 1. You're useless, mate. So he only gets 1 additional stamina point. He is also on 8. So that's gone off. We now move on to our next 2 sections of the arena. At the moment, because he slew a beast previously, Jamon is going to go before the Rhinoceros. The Rhinoceros has not slayed anyone. So Jamon is going to strike at the Rhino. He gets a top value of 3, a lower of 1. So this Rhino is reduced to 2 points, 1, 2, which indeed brings him to the Thanos point. The Rhinoceros is dead for now. He will come back at the end of next turn. We've cleared the arena of animals. My goodness, the Raw Patrol, they know what their business is about. Jamon gets an additional fame point, so Jamon really, he's raking in the glory. And the crowd is loving it. So that's the end of round 2. Oh, not quite actually, now that I think about it. At the end of round 2, like I said, our beasts are going to re-enter the arena. So they're ready to go at the start of next round. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the crowd phase. We're going to see which corner cheers first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so unsurprisingly, this far quadrant was the one that went off, which means this quarter will go, then these 2, then this one. And with Jamal, with his 2 fame, he is definitely going to be going first. Now he is Jamon, he hasn't really moved all that much at all, to be honest. He was already in base contact with the previous one. He didn't move, so he's only got 11 stamina to work with. So he is deliberately going to put himself into harm's way, I think. How far away are these animals? Oh, okay. All right. He is going to deliberately risk it. He's going to go barreling in. He's got 11 stamina to work with. So he is going to go charging in at... Let's go the bear. He's going to take on the bear. Bring it on, bear. So he's going to fight the bear in epic man-on-beast vicious battle. Okay? So he has moved 5... which brings his stamina down to 6, and he's going to make just a hit. Let's see if we can hurt this bear as much as possible. He gets a 6 and a 4, which means he can only inflict 2 on this thing. So he's down to 10 stamina. Does he go further? Oh, no, he won't, because he is now going to be on the defensive, and he's only got himself 6 stamina to work with. So his gambit probably was a little bit too risky. Oh well. All right, next up, these 2 arenas. So all these gladiators are probably going to go... all the ones that have made hits on people, they're going to go. So, Connie and Harris, they've both got themselves 1 fame each. Connie is closer to the appeal box. So Connie is going to rest, I'm pretty sure. I mean, she's only on 3 stamina. She has to, really. She has to. So rolling the steady die, she gets an additional 4. So she's now up to 7 stamina. Next is Old Man Harris. He is also... No, he's all right. He's actually all right. So, what's he going to do? He is going to move himself a little closer. He's just going to move 1 inch. He's just going to move 1 inch closer to this rhino, because now he's the one that's staring this thing down. He's the one that will get the attention of that rhino. And he's going to take it on. He's going to take it head on. Next up, we have Russell. Russell is closer to the appeal box than Redhead. So Russell, he's going to steady himself again. He needs a bit more stamina to be useful. He only gets another 2. Oh, good on you, Russell. So he's now up to 10 stamina, but he'll be good to go in the next combat phase. That brings us to old Redhead. Redhead was even worse with his stamina roll previously, wasn't he? He's on 8. He's got to get around this arena. So he is going to move just 2 inches. He's going to move 2 inches further around this arena, which brings him down to 6 once again. Oh, come on, mate. You're so slow. But that's everyone in that quarter of the arena gone. It's now really these 2. So both are on 0. The bear is in the middle of the appeal box, so the bear's going to go next. He is going to, of course, take a strike at Jamon. He takes a strike at Jamon. Oh, it's an upper value of 5, lower of 1. Amulet of Mars is applied to the bear. So it's actually the upper value is 6 against a 1. So, oh my goodness, Jamar is going to take, for no cost at all, no cost at all to the bear, he's going to take 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which brings him to his Thanos point. Oh my goodness, it's all gone wrong for Jamon. So he would normally appeal to the crowd in a multiplayer game, but with animals there is no appeal to the crowd. And just like that, he is mauled by the bear, and we're going to have to find out later the fate of Jamon. He might be okay, or he could be dead. Which brings us to our rhinoceros friend. He is currently on full stamina, so he is indeed going to make a full charge, which will only be really 2 inches in order to get at Old Man Harris. So 2 inches off of that bull. 1, 2. He's down to 10, and of course he will make his strike. So it's a double 5. So that rhino does no initial damage for free, but he has got 5 stamina points to work with, which he will. So that's 5 stamina points off of the bull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which brings 4, just down to 4, because that brings him to 6. And Old Man Harris takes 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, which brings him down to 4 stamina. So he's not feeling particularly good, to be honest. All right, and just like that, that is that round finished. We're into round 4, and this quadrant was the one that went first, which means our animals, at least the rhino and the bear, I think, are going to be going first. And then so on. Okay, so bear is in the middle of that quadrant wheel, so he is definitely going to be heading off. He's got 10 stamina to work with, so he's happy to make use of this. At the moment, Old Man Harris is engaged, so he's going to be going across to Russell. So let's see how many inches it takes to get to Russell. It takes about 4. So he gets there in 4 stamina, which brings him down to 6. So he's not actually going to do anything once again. I think we've been here before. He's rushed at Russell, but he cannot actually make any attacks at this stage. Which brings us to our newly spawned rhinoceros, who is purple in nature. Purple? No, green in nature. He's green in nature. So the green rhino he is going to run to the nearest engaged unit, which is indeed Connie. So he's going to have a go at Connie. Oh, this could be bad. So again, Connie is about 4 inches away. So that's going to cost the bull 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He's down to 8 stamina at this stage. And he's going to make a strike. He's going to make a strike. Of course he is. He gets nothing for free. That's 2 doubles on these animals in a row. So he got 3. So he can't do anything, but he can spend 3 stamina further, which is what he's going to do. Just two further to bring him down to 6 and to bring Connie down to 5. Okay, so she's not doing super well. I'd say he's in that quadrant, wouldn't you? Okay, so that's that quadrant done. We move on to these next 2, which no one's in here. We've just got the leopard, so all the animals are going to be able to move first. And the only target not engaged is Redhead. Is indeed Redhead. Oh dear. So the leopard is going to move. It's almost the worst possible animal to strike because he will get 2 additional inches for free. So he needs to move 5 inches. It's only going to cost him 3 though. 3 stamina in order to make that kind of movement. So he's down to 9. Oh, okay, so he obviously makes a strike. He got upper value of 5, lower value of 4. So he gets 1 strike on Redhead for free. And he is currently not at half, so he's going to spend an additional 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 to bring Redhead down to 2. He's almost on his Thanos point. Now, scenario 6 dictates that he can get to his Thanos point and stay alive. It's not until the other gladiators have been eliminated until he can be eliminated as well. It is not looking good for Raw Patrol, that is for sure. So while the crowd is super hyped, it is now all the gladiators' turns. So there's no one over here, so it's now over here that's going to be our combat. And the person with the most fame at this stage is Connie and Old Man Harris. So both of them have got 1. Closest to the appeal box is Connie, so she's going next. What's Connie going to do? So Connie's up against a rhino at level 6. The rhino will not strike because he's at half. The rhino will steady himself. So she is going to once again take a risk and hit this rhino. Upper value of 5, lower of 1. She inflicts 4 damage on this creature, which brings it down to 2. She has 1 additional hit she can put on this thing. So indeed she will bring it down to its thesis point, bring her down to 4 stamina, and it is again eliminated. She's taken out 2 rhinos. She has taken out 2 rhinos almost single-handedly. My goodness, she is a boss. And of course the crowd, they just love it. They're going nuts for this kind of thing. That brings us to our next highest most famous character, which is Harris, Old Man Harris here, sorry. He is also facing off against the rhino, is at 6. He is at 4. Can he afford it? Yes, because it has to again charge next, steady itself next round. But he's also going to make a hit at this thing, but probably just a hit. Oh, he gets an upper value of 6, lower of 2. He can inflict 4 on this thing, which brings it down to 2. He is on 4. No, he's not going to risk it. He's not going to risk going down much lower than this. If it comes back into the arena and it takes him out quickly, that's not going to be ideal. Russell's turn. Russell's on 10. He's good to go. He's going to absolutely tame this bear if he can. So he gets himself, a double 1. So he doesn't do any damage for free, and he'll only get to spend 1 stamina, so he's down to 9, to inflict 1 damage on this bear, who's now down to 5. Russell, what are you doing? And then that brings us to old Redhead mate. He is down to 2 stamina remaining. He needs to get moving. So what I'm going to do is get him to steady. But because the leopard is in base contact with him, when he steadies, the the leopard will automatically get 1 free stamina. Think of it this way. The redhead is like paused for a moment to take his breath, and in that moment, its opponent will also get the opportunity to get at least 1 additional stamina point. So he gets himself 3. He only gets 3 additional stamina points, which brings him back up to 5, but the leopard is now at 7. The leopard is at 7. That could be bad for redhead, mate. Probably going to hold him there for longer. But that's the end of that round. On to the next. We are at round 5. It shouldn't surprise us that the quadrant that had 8 hype points went off. So basically, it is this quadrant that's now going to go. It means that all of our combatants are probably going to go except for our rhino just here. He'll go last regardless. But who goes first? The one who has the most fame, which is indeed Connie. Connie is going to go next. She only has 4 stamina. She has to steady, really. She has to steady before she can do anything. If she moves into contact, she's going to spend stamina and basically have no stamina to defend herself when she gets into a fight. So, she only gets 2 though. She only gets 2. That's not ideal. She's up to 6. Next, we will have, I believe, Old Man Harris is going to go now. He is facing off against this rhino. And he has indeed got lots of stamina to work with. He's only got 2. Okay, so he is going to take this shot. He's going to take this shot, try and take out this rhino once and for all. He does. He gets upper 5, lower 2. This second rhino is out of the equation. How nice. And Old Man Harris gets himself an additional fame point. Good for him. Next up, we have Russell. Russell, it's his turn in order to strike because he's closest to the appeal box. He is going to... What's his stamina? He's got plenty. He's got 8. So he's going to take a strike at this bear, try and take it out once and for all. He gets a 5 and a 4. So he gets 1 for free on this bear, which brings it down to 4. He is going to spend some more stamina. He can spend up to 4. He'll only need to spend 1, 2, 3, which brings him down to 6, but it takes out the bear. So the bear is now gone from the arena. That just leaves us with the leopard. I would say the leopard is closer to the to the appeal box. So he is going to go. The leopard has 1 stamina to use on a strike, so he's going to. He gets nothing, double 2. So he doesn't do anything, but he will spend 1 stamina, which brings him down to 6, which keeps Old Mate Redhead down to 4. Okay, which means Redhead now, he's on 4. Look, he's going to have to steady himself again, isn't he? He's going to have to steady himself again. Just remembering hype points exist, and this quadrant would be getting them. He is going to try and steady himself, like I said. He gets 4 additional steady points, which is good for him. 1, 2, 3, 4. But that brings the leopard back up to 7 as well. So they're both on 7 at this stage. And that's that round finished. And also, that round brought us to maximum hype level. You can only have 18 hype points per match. Well, we've got the crowd on its feet, just going nuts for this competition. Hope you are too. All right, let's move on to the next round. Okay, we're at round 6. We've got a rhino spawning in. This quadrant fired off first, which means he will indeed go first. He has got full stamina, so he is going to make his charge straight for Old Man Harris. He is the closest non-engaged combatant. That's about 3 inches, so that's good for him, which then brings him to attack. He's going to take a strike. Upper value 6, lower value 4, which means he can do 4 damage for free to Old Man Harris, which brings him to his Thanos point. Just like that, the heroic Harris goes down. So he is not looking too healthy. Which reminds me, I've actually got some little casualty markers. I'm pretty sure Jamon went down there, and Harris must have gone down about here. There, that looks lovely and dramatic, doesn't it? All right, so that rhino's gone. That was this quadrant firing off. It's now these 2. And Connie is the one with the most fame at this stage. So Connie is going to... She's only got 6 stamina. Oh, does she take one for the team and try and take on that rhino? Oh, I think she won't. She won't. She's going to reach. She's going to steady herself. Give herself only 2 more stamina. 1, 2. So she's up to 8. She's going to have to move next time, though. That's for sure. It is now Russell's go. Russell is closest to the appeal box. Russell has himself 6. He is going to steady himself as well because he knows he's closest to this rhino. He only gets 1. Russell, you're useless. Which now brings us to the leopard. The leopard now has 7 stamina, so he can make a strike. He can make a strike on Redhead, which he does. He gets 3, which brings Redhead 1, 2, 3 down to 4. He's down to 4. Oh, he is stuck. Oh, Russell steadied himself, didn't he? He shouldn't have done that. He should have gone into the leopard. He should have gone into leopard. I won't retcon that. I should have retconned that, but I'm not going to. Redhead's going to steady himself. Is he? Is he? Because he just needs to get out of there, to be perfectly honest. He's just going to get going, even if it brings him down to status point. So he can only move a maximum of 2 inches, because he just needs to get moving. These guys, they're slowly eking out like flies. So he's going to get moving, which brings him down to only 2 stamina remaining. And when this leopard turns and fights him, he's going to be on 0. He's going to be status point. But just like that, that round is finished. Round 7, Gladiatorial Phase. Alright, so this quadrant fired off, which means no one's going in that one. We move on to these next 2. So this quadrant, once again, is going to get activated. Corrie's into it. So she is now on 8. She has to move. Let's be honest, she has to do something at this stage. It is just a pig's breakfast. So she is going to move her 2 inches to get into contact with this rhinoceros here. And even though she's only got 6 stamina, she's going to hit him. She's going to hit him as hard as she can. She gets a 6 and a 5, which means she only gets 1 for free. So it's down to 8. She will inflict 2 more, which will bring her stamina down to 4, and its stamina will go down to 6. Okay, so that means it will need to steady itself in this next round. Okay, so that's happened there. It's now going to be Russell's turn. Surely, Russell, you need to redeem yourself after the last round. He's going to move his 1 inch that he needs to move in order to slam into the side of this leopard. So he slams into the side of that for his 1 stamina. He then takes a hit. Come on, Russell. Russell, you're useless. It is a double 2. It is a double 2, so it does nothing, but he will indeed spend 1, 2 stamina on this thing to bring the leopard 1, 2 down to 5. So it will need to do a bit of a rest before it's able to do anything else in the next round. And it is its turn. It is its turn now. So it is going to the leopard. The leopard is going to turn to face Russell, but because he's below 6, he'll just need to steady himself, which is great. It gives Russell an additional stamina point, so he's now up to 5, and he will gain 6! 6! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's up to 11 stamina. That is the best steady roll we have seen all game. Oh, it's not looking good for Russell. Next, we have these 2. So the bear is going to go next. The closest unengaged is indeed Redhead. So he is going to move 5, which gives him enough space to actually inflict. So he got a 5 and a 3. So that's 2 for free, which brings him down to his status point. Let's be honest, there's no point spending any more stamina. Now, he's not dead yet because his defenders are still in play, but it's not looking good for Redhead. Next, we have the Rhino. Now, because all combatants are currently engaged, the Rhino is just going to now make his way to the closest combatant, which is poor old Connie. So Connie is going to have now 2 rhinoceroses fighting her. So it's going to spend, was that 2 or 3? Hang on. 3. 3 stamina to come across to Connie. So 1, 2, 3. He's going to make a hit. It's a 6 and a 5. Oh, that's not good. So for free, Connie goes down to 3. But then the Rhino can now spend its additional 1, 2 to bring Connie to her Thanos point. And just like that, Connie is indeed out of the match. Uh-oh. Which just leaves with Redhead. He has to steady himself because he's on his thesis point, but he gets 5. He gets 5 stamina in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool, and that's that round. All our beasts are in play. Only 1 defender left. We're on a bit of a Dutch angle, but it is indeed round 8. Round 8 in this, which is probably going to be the final round in this game, let's be honest. So, this quadrant, the opposite quadrant to these guys, has fired off, which means our rhinoceros, just one of our rhinoceroses, the green one, is going to get to go first. Now, that green rhino, he's down 6, so he can move. He's going to move, but he's only going to move 1 inch closer, because that's all he can spend at this stage. So he wanders closer. He goes over the body of one of the other gladiators. You can't quite see it, so he's just defiling a body on his way through. Then that quadrant's gone, so it's now going to be the rhino and the bear before Redhead. So blue rhino is going to go. He cannot move because that's 6. So he's going to steady himself. He gets himself 2 steady. Which brings us to the bear. The bear is currently on 8. He's just going to keep mauling old mates and just pretty much be stuck there. He is not on his Thanos point. So let's roll, see what we get. Oh, it's a 6 and a 1. So that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Redhead is back to his Thanos point. This is probably going to be it. Redhead goes, he steadies himself, giving the bear an additional 1 stamina, and only giving himself an additional 1 stamina. Oh, you're useless. And then finally, we have ourselves, this quadrant now is going to go. Russell is closest to the appeal box, so Russell indeed will go first. He has 5 stamina against the leopards. 11! 11! He's got to go out swinging, let's be honest. So he's going to take a strike. He gets himself a 2 and a 1. Russell is true to form and continues to be useless. So the leopard takes 1 damage. Russell's going to take the stamina hit, go down to 4 to give this leopard down to 9 stamina. It is now the leopard's turn. And the leopard, he rears up. He has a go here. But he only gets a 2 and a 1. He only gets a 2 and a 1, which brings Russell down to 3. And then he will spend 1 stamina in order to bring him down to 2. Okay, so Russell's holding in there. Russell's holding in there. Okay, we will quickly move on to the next phase. I'm just going to leave the crowd up here because it just looks more dramatic. This quarter was the one that fired off, obviously. So it is going to be our final little quadrant over here that's happening first. I'll put some more people over here that looks better. So Russell, he is going to go first as he is the closest to... No, really, actually, the rhino is the closest to the stamina box. But he'll need to steady himself. He just gets 1. So that's quite uneventful. It is now Russell's turn. Russell's going to go down swinging. Come on, Russell. Come on. You've got to get something impressive. Let's do this. Guess what Russell got? Nothing. 2 2s. And he can't even spend the stamina because he's at his thesis point. Russell, we are going to have words afterwards. Alright, that brings us to the leopard. The leopard indeed is going to strike out at Russell. He gets a double 6 though. A double 6, which means there's no initial damage. But of course, he will spend his 1 stamina to bring Russell to his Thanos point. He is out of the game. Which of course leaves us with just Redhead. He is also on his Thanos point. So really, with all these animals coming in to take him out, there is no possible way for Raw Patrol to win their debut match. And so just like that, the band of rookies have gotten absolutely creamed by their animal foes. Okay, and so just like that, the first match is over, and it was a complete disaster for Raw Patrol. There's the animals prowling in the distance. But what we need to focus our attention on is figuring out who lived, who died, and what the Ludi school has managed to earn from this complete trouncing of a match. So, let's figure it out. we've got ourselves the booklet here. We're going to go through what we need to do. Let's determine how much fame and fortune, because even though these guys have got trounced, and even though some of them may indeed die of their injuries, we can determine how much fame and fortune the Ludi as a collective have earned. So firstly, let's check out our fame. So we managed to kill 6 animals in that match. We managed to take out 6 of them, which means the Ludi has attained 6 collective fame points. So firstly, we'll just give them to the individual fighters. So Jamon managed to get himself 2 fame points. Come on, pen. Connie managed to get 2, and Harris got 2 as well. So we're collectively at 6 fame points right now, which is not too bad for a match where we got completely thrashed. A word of warning about fame points. Fame points are good for turn order during the match, as you probably saw, but they also, if you get too many of them, can begin to accrue permanent damage and negative results. So I've got to keep an eye on this amount of fame, because it could end up resulting in these characters becoming useless even if they are still around. So yeah, 6 fame points. Fortune. So fortune is determined by how hyped up the crowd was. As we saw, every time either the animals or the gladiators took a hit one of their opponents, it hyped up the crowd a little bit more. And we reached maximum hype points, which was 18 hype points. Now, the winning Ludi, let's just imagine it's the animal trainers that brought these characters in. They will take 12 of those hype points. So if I was versing another player, they would receive 12 hype points to make use of. We, being the losers, get the shorter straw, but we still need some money to support our team. So for our first match, we managed to, for our Ludi, we managed, for our Manus match, we managed to get ourselves plus 6 denarii. They used denarii back in the day, apparently. So we'll put 6 there. We'll cross it off in a little bit when we spend some of those denarii. But as you can see, we managed to at least make a little bit of denarii and earn a little bit of fame. Both 6s in the end. But let's find out, though, who's lived and who has died, which is not a fun point in this game. So I need myself a D6, and I need myself the fate chart. So here it is, the fate chart. That's going to determine who lived and who died. I need 2 D6s, sorry. So let's do it in order, I suppose. Let's start with Jamon. Jamon, he's got 2 fame. He took out 2 animals. Let's see what happened to him. I got a 3 and a 1 and a 2, which is 3, which means Jamon, first match, took out 2 creatures, but indeed was mauled to death. So he has died. Oh, Jamon, we barely knew ye. So we strike Jamon from our list. Now, his fame remains with the Ludi. So that fame still belongs to the Ludi. But Jamon, you fought and you died well. Well, actually, you fought and died when mauled to death by a savage creature. I don't think that's well, but it was exciting nonetheless. All right, so Jamon's gone, which now brings us to, I believe, next was Old Man Harris went down. Oh, I'm now really scared what will happen. He got 6. He got 6, so that means he is shaken, he is battered, but he is in one piece. He will be able to live to fight another day. So Harris is still in the game. Let's bring out Connie. Connie, what happens to you? Connie rolls a 5. Oh, so many low rolls, but she just makes it. If it was a 4, she'd be dead as well. But Connie managed to live to fight another day as well. Battered, but still going. And that brings us to Russell. Russell, you should have been the one that died. You did absolutely nothing in that match. You've got a lot of explaining to do. So Russell rolls. He does die. Oh, I shouldn't have spoken too soon. So he manages to cark it. He is indeed dead, which means our Ludi now only has 2 gladiators left. Oh no, I was hoping I'd be able to spend some of this denarii on equipping our gladiators, but we're going to now have to spend some of it on purchasing new gladiators. There are rules. There are rules about how many gladiators you're allowed to have. We need to have 4 to keep going. So we're going to have to talk to the patrons of this Ludi in order to restock. It was a complete disaster. We lost 2 of our gladiators, 2 noble warriors. We only have 2 remaining. We only got 6 fortune, which will soon be even more reduced. What a disaster. Okay, we've got 2 more matches to go. Here's the goal. In 2 more matches time, I would like to treble this fame and treble this fortune. Okay, this current fortune of 6. So if we can get ourselves 20 fame and 20 fortune, I will count this spectacle as a success. Doesn't look good. It doesn't look good because we're already down 2 of our gladiators. Thank goodness Russell's gone, to be honest, though. Oh dear, we're down, we're struggling. Okay, so I will need to rebuild up this Ludi to see if we can get ourselves a success. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this solo play of Munus. Again, if you found this interesting, if you enjoyed Munus, then go jump across to wargamevault.com. There you will find this game. Just search Munus, M-U-N-U-S. And yeah, nice and cheap. Throw a bit of support towards a little humble content creator. And I hope that you will see me more in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.